Welcome to this week's version of Volunteer Corner. Here's somebody I've known for a long time. This is Mike Cairns. Now, Mike, you and I were at a volleyball tournament a few months ago, and you let me know that you were volunteering with 519 Pursuit, which I didn't know at that time. And of course, the food bank has this very strong partnership with 519 Pursuit. Maybe you could describe a bit what 519 does.
Well, it's an amazing organization that I've been really fortunate to be a part of. What they do, the basics is we just try and provide meals and necessities to people that are living on the streets or living in encampments.
In encampments.
So hot foods, cold lunches, snack packs, clothing packs, hygiene packs, warm blankets, tents.
Yeah.
Just to help people get through the day.
Yeah. Now that 519 had already been running in 2000, but was just getting started.
Yeah.
And then the pandemic came along, and I remember RBC Place, Lori, who was the general manager at the time, phoned me here on a Saturday morning, talked to Jane and I, and said, look, we've got this industrial capacity to cook things, but we don't have any business because everything is shut down. Yeah. Is there anything you can think of for us to do? So we knew about 519, so we just set that up. Like, it took, I would say, 90 minutes for those various partners. Michelle Baldwin, who was at Pillar at the time, had also been instrumental in helping to pull all that together. We sat down and we worked it out, and I'll never forget it. It was like, it was a pandemic, so everybody was confused about everything, but we basically put it out there as a food bank and said, okay, here's what's happening. And there was such an interest from average Londoners, interest in the homeless side. You mean I actually get to go out and see them, as opposed to having to go into an agency or something like that, where sometimes a lot of expertise is required. And so we did that. But there were times, Mike, like we would go in the morning, and I think it was 400 to 500 meals they were cooking at the time, because it wasn't all going to 519 back then, because a number of places were shut down. But bicycle organizations and others all came in, and there'd be like 15 or 20 of them, and they showed up at the loading bay, and they took all of these meals, and then out they went on their bikes to all these people. All these companies came in and helped. And I realized that 519 had suddenly taken homelessness and made it very real and personal.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, a lot of people I know have been out there in helping 519 who would never have encountered the homeless otherwise, other than driving by or whatever. How did you find it when you first went out? Tell me about your first time.
The first time, so I went out with Sean, who is one of the mainstays there, and he's just an absolutely incredible guy.
Yeah.
And the first couple of times, we just look and see if we call them our friends. So we'd see a friend on the street.
So they call them friends.
Friends, yeah.
Right?
So people it's great. I love that terminology, because the people are just maybe a little down on their luck kind of thing, and we want to help our friends.
Yeah.
Be there for them. And we just would, anytime we had a couple of spots we always go to and everything, but for the first day it was just we'd drive down Dundas Street or something like that, and we just see a friend on the street.
So you get out of your car and
go up and say, hey, can we get you a hot meal? It just felt great.
It did. You weren't intimidated or anything?
No, because they're people, right? And they're someone that needs help. And just to kind of say, hey, I got a hot meal for you, was really special. Yeah. And you mentioned with the convention center, with the meals they provide. That's the one thing I love is I haven't actually eaten one myself, but when we look out and take a look at it, those are good solid meals.
Solid meals.
And whenever I go to someone and say, hey, I got a hot meal for it, and I can say it's a really good hot meal. It's whatever it is for the day. Like, I can really say, hey, I got something really nice for you, something really hot and really really tasty and really filling. That's been awesome.
I think for the food bank, Mike, it's been like the pandemic started. We knew about the homeless agencies having to close down or limit them, and so we're sitting there as a food bank figuring out, what are we going to do? We met with the mayor and others, and they asked for the food bank to remain open and help all these other different agencies. But how exactly do you do that? But 519 actually helped the food bank go mobile.
Yeah.
Right? All of a sudden, there was a group that was person to person, as you said, with friends going out there. And all of a sudden, we as a food bank had developed a capacity we'd never had in 35 years, right? It was 519 that gave us that opportunity to do that. And also what I realized as well is that, just as you're saying, they're friends, right? It's not it's not so much just about the meal, and it's not just about the tent or something that somebody might need. It's the relationships.
Yeah.
So do you have some that you have built?
Yeah, there's been a couple guys that I really have connected with, it's kind of so I've been taking a break the last couple weeks. I've been helping out with some other stuff.
Yeah.
But I really do miss them. I miss seeing them. Yeah. And actually, I've kind of walked by in my own time, kind of thing, just to go back and see they actually haven't been there kind of time. But yeah, I built these great relationships with people, and I want to help them. I want to see what to do. And again, nothing. I'm not forcing anything on or pushing anything on, but just asking, hey, what can we do to help?
Yeah.
What can we do to help you get those next steps?
Yeah.
And there's some really amazing people out there that, just want to see what we can do to help.
Yeah. I think that something happened at the pandemic, and I don't know what it was fully, but homelessness just seemed to explode. Unhoused people living rough, all of a sudden were in our city, but they were in every city across the country. Everywhere where I traveled, you saw it everywhere. When I was in Europe, I saw it there as well. And I think it was because agencies had to close down for obvious reasons, but the needs were still there. But now people weren't so much in agencies; they were out in the community. And I remember that first winter we had to develop the winter response program, right? So a number of groups were helpful there. But I have realized in the 5 or so, actually, it's next month is our 5th year partnering with 519. And we ended up taking them kind of under our wing in a bit so that they didn't have to worry so much about fundraising or things like that. Yeah. We would help them with all of that stuff. They're still an independent organization. People can still donate to them, and you get your charitable receipt for doing it. But the point was, we really felt it was important to pull next to them. And I think they helped us to realize it's important that we got real about homelessness because they knew about it and they knew how to go about it. But it seems to me that what ended up happening, there was just so many, and then when the pandemic ended, there were efforts to try to focus on certain portions of the homeless population, but the majority, say 1,000, were out there in the community still. And how were they going to be reached? So even after the pandemic was over, things kind of got back to normal. There were those people, and those are the ones 519 gets to. Right. Yeah,
no, it's incredible. Yeah, we go right to where their encampments are. Like we hear through word of mouth or just from me going for walks or runs, and if I see a tent or something like that, and we go stop by and make that connection, and just try and see how we can help.
And the demographics of the people that help are really interesting too, right? Like you've got universities professors, you've got people like you've got seniors, you've got across the board, right? It's amazing. I do think it's one of those rare moments in society where people would normally look at another segment of the population, perhaps remain a bit distant. Yeah. But it takes one particular group to make it possible to pull those together, and that's what 519 has done.
Yeah, the great thing about I really love with the 519, like you mentioned, the diverse group. Yeah. Like there are people like Jerry Preble, the counselor. Yeah. Conservative. He's there. Yeah. Hardcore. Right. I've gone in with him a couple times. I've also gone in with some pretty strong NDP people. Yeah. And they're great people, but it's people from all different walks of life, all different things. They just want to help their friends.
Yeah. That's what I've noticed too, is that you can, the food bank is full of those people as well, and all they want to do is help. But if you sat down and gave them a piece of paper and a pencil and said, okay, let's design a government program to help those people, they would split up in 15 different directions, right? They'd be all over the place. But 519 doesn't ask them to even do that. No. Just help. And that's why they're there, because that's what they want to do. Yeah. So these people all have different opinions, but they found that commonality.
And we even we talk about that when we're with the groups where we're doing the deliveries, is like, how can we help these people? Like, what can we do? And really, we don't know, but we know that this helps today, and this will help tomorrow. And it's a short-term Band-Aid fix. But people, one of the main reasons why I find delivering food so helpful is when people are on the streets and they're really in their encampments, that's usually the first necessity of, like, that's your priority for the day is how can I eat today? Yeah. And if we can take that problem solve away from them and say, here's your food, then they can
work on other stuff.
They can go to the next stuff. Yeah. And they go to the next stuff. So it's, hey, you don't have the home, you don't have the job, or you don't have any contact, or you don't have clothes, but you got the food today. That's how can we help you go on those next steps too?
That's right. But 519 helps them on those next steps too.
Yeah,
right?
we
like
try
they're
to
not
do-
just delivering the food.
No,
What
no,
else
we
do
don't.
they do?
Yeah, well, like you said, with the clothing or with the tents, or
Yeah.
I know some people we know trying to get like with the one they're just with the dental work,
Yeah.
help them get identification.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
even just
yeah.
trying to get them make sure they're on the list for that short term for the accommodations.
Yeah.
For the just to make sure they're on the list, make sure on the register, make sure they're in the system, because a lot of people they don't want to be in the system, but if they get the help they need, sometimes they have to be in the system. So
Does it confound you sometimes? Like I asked you before I pushed the sort in the camera, like, do you think of policy options or other things to do? And you say it's just so complicated and it's so complex. And it is. Do you find yourself getting frustrated at the lack of solutions? It's been a number of years. We don't seem to have a handle on it.
no, it's. I was thinking. I used this analogy before, this thing is like every person you meet, it's a different answer that would help fix them, or help not fix them, but just help them get the help. And what works for one person won't work for the next nine. And so to have a tailor-made solution for every single person out there, we just don't have those resources. I don't think the government has those resources. And to try and do that, it'd just be, I don't know. That's the only thing I can think of is you almost need that individual help for every single person. But that's hopefully kind of what we've been helping to try and do with 519.
Yeah, that's right.
Is we're just trying to build those connections and build those friendships that we can have tailor-made solutions for each people. But it is frustrating. Like there's some people where they just go through the same cycles over and over again.
It's hard for them. Yeah,
it's hard for them, and it's hard. Just wish I could help them more, but the main thing is like make sure they're fed that day.
Yeah. It's one of the things about confusion or being confounded, right? People, when they get like that, tend to remain distant.
Yeah.
They're trying to figure out, they're not sure what all the implications are, what their response is. Really hard. And then along comes the 519 and says, just hop in the car and help us to deliver meals. And all of a sudden, you're right in the trenches. You're right in the middle of the action, where just the day before, somebody could be really confused and doesn't know what they think about it. But just as you're saying, they can act. They can do something about it. And we're going to have to leave it to better minds than us, I guess, to figure it out. Do you see yourself continuing on with it, Mike? Or,
I absolutely love it. There's kind of, I guess we'll talk about, I'm not sure if you know, like the three kind of modes of transport, way we get to the food to. So the one that I started out with is where we go in the cars, and we actually take the food right to the, like, drive and then have to usually hike in a little bit to wherever the encampment is, and that's been great. Last summer we actually started an e-bike program. We partnered with the Bicycle Cafe, and I was really enjoying doing that. That's where we get this electric bike, and we have this big trailer behind it, and we can take 35 meals with water and food and everything like that. And this way it's actually easier. We can actually get right on the bike path or wherever along the thing. We can actually get right to people, and it makes it easier and faster to get the people the food.
And the Bicycle Cafe is right down by the river.
Exactly.
So that's a good
location. So it makes it nice and easy. It was a little tough this winter. It wasn't the cold, but it was the snow. And the city wasn't doing a great job of plowing those pathways. So that we kind of had to shut down for the winter. But
that's the second one. So what's the third?
The third is just where we do called the walking route. And that's where we start off our thing. We kind of go up Richmond, Dundas, and Wellington, and that's where we just pull a wagon, and we have sandwiches and clothing packs, and we just help our friends on the street. We wouldn't necessarily stop off with that. And that's where I took our son Jackson with us a couple weeks ago. One of the snow days. Where he was in school, he helped me push the wagon because the wagon, boy, was that heavy. It's like a pulling.
And he's a big boy. How did he find that?
He did good. He actually was very good. And he was great talking with our friends, and I went from there. But just having that extra muscle was much needed on that snow day.
I think we also have to tip our hats to YOU, Youth Opportunities Unlimited. There's days when the convention center is closed, like on weekends or things like that, and YOU will then pick up that slack. But also YOU helps homeless youth. Right? So, and they also have homeless youth preparing lunches for homeless youth. It's really great. It's really interesting.
And actually, when you mentioned those sandwiches that we do on the walking route, that's the YOU sandwiches. Those are the YOU sandwiches.
And the way the food bank fits into it's nothing. We don't do much of anything. What we do is we pay for the meals. And so really the people that are responsible for that and making all that possible are those people that donate. We take the donations, the financial donations that come to us, and then we'll get into the contract with RBC Place or with YOU. So the food bank pays for it, and that's it. It's all the folks like Mike and the others, and the folks in the kitchens at YOU and also at RBC Place. But at the end of the day, it's almost like food banks were themselves. Like food bank first started in the 80s, right? And all of a sudden, all these people were hungry. and the social agencies weren't able to do it. So a bunch of citizens got together in Edmonton, as you know, Gerard Kennedy and the others, and they just decided to ask people to donate, and then they put the food out there, and that's how it first got started. So while governments were busy trying to do their thing and trying to figure it out, citizens came forward with their own kind of ingenuity, and that is what 519 is, right? It's a citizens movement that's really gotten into the heart of a lot of people, including their friends, the people that are being helped. I really appreciate you coming, Mike, and I'm glad you're going to stay at it. But these personal stories and how they kind of liberate us and help us to feel like we're doing something, because these are tough times, right? So to be able to do something is pretty great. So thanks and good luck as you keep going with it.
Thanks for your time, Glenn.
Yeah, no problem.